Oh. Are we live? Okay. Namaste, everyone. Welcome you all to CoHNA Dialogues. My name is Sudha Jagannathan, and I am a member of the Board of Directors at Coalition of Hindus of North America. Welcome you all, and today being Mother's Day, all my best wishes to the mothers out there. As we say in our Hindu Dharma, Matru Devo Bhava, which is supposed to be every day. So I wish you all a great day. I am very happy today to introduce to all of you a guest we have from Rishikesh. I'm sure all Hindus are aware of Rishikesh, a holy place for our community. And let me introduce you to Karthick Sreenivasan. He's the director of Shamyapras, which is an organization in Rishikesh. And he's visiting the United States now. He's on the East Coast right now. And he's going to join us and to explain to us the reason he's here and about Rishikesh, and also the challenges Rishikesh and other cities are facing today. And with that, Karthik, welcome. Namaste to you. And let's start with something about your background. Tell us a little bit about who Karthik Sreenivasan is.
First of all, thanks a lot for giving me an opportunity to be here and to express about the awareness that I'm trying to bring into the public domain. And I'm very, very grateful for that opportunity. And my name is Karthick Sreenivasan. I'm born and brought up in Delhi. And for the last 23 years, I've been residing in Rishikesh by the banks of Gangaji. And I did my regular education, and the credit goes to my parents who had that courage to bring me out of that metropolitan city and brought me into a place like Rishikesh, where people generally don't bring their kids, and where I had a privilege to do my Vedic knowledge as well in terms of learning the Vedas, because my parents are from South. So I got an opportunity to learn the Krishna Yajurvedam, also the Shukla Yajurvedam, and the Shastras as well. So it was an honor to be there and to learn to be more perfect as a human being, and to be more grounded in terms of being a Sanatani, to understand your roots. And so that was a beginning, so which I want to give the credit to my parents. And then that 23 years of my time spent, I had a lot of experience being with the Mahatmas, to learn what takes to be under the ashram fold, under the umbrella of sadhus. And it was a privilege. And that's how we slowly thought. And then under the guidance of Swamiji, we had Swami Vasudev Daji, who actually is the founder of Shamyapras, which I'm representing right now in US.
Yeah, so the Shamyapras, can you just give us a definition of what that means, that word?
Yes, Amma. Because we are residing in Uttarakhand, and Uttarakhand is generally known for Himalayas, Lord Shiva, and a lot of other epic stories of the Mahatmas. Of course, the Gangaji, Yamunaji, Saraswati all originated from Himalayas, as we all know. And it is specifically known for Maharishi Vedavyas. Maharishi Vedavyas up in Badrinath, where many are not aware that his ashram was known as Shamyapras. And this reference is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. And Shamyapras is literally Sanskrit meaning, which is known as the abode of knowledge. So, as we all, if you want to coin it in the words of Adi Shankara, that Shankaracharya used to say, Vyasasya Uchishtam Jagat Sarvam. What we all see in Shastras is all just a work which came out by Maharishi Vyasa. So that is what we want to depict. Our knowledge, our work is totally into education. So Swami said, let's keep Shamyapras as a beacon of knowledge to everybody that we want to do the work for.
Very nice, very nice. So the ShriSharadamba Vidyapeeth Trust is the entity behind Shamyapras. Is that how it works?
Yes. Shamyapras is the brand, and which is registered under the trust name.
Yeah. And I noticed that you are a fairly new organization, right?
Yeah, we registered the organization in the year 2018, so we are fairly new. Yes.
Okay. Now, let's talk a little bit about Rishikesh. And I have to tell you, I've not been to Rishikesh, but it's a word that fires the imagination of, I would say, practicing Hindus. It's one of the holiest centers for Hindus. It has all these descriptions, the gateway to the Himalayas, the yoga capital of the world, great pilgrimage center for Hindus. So, how do you define here Rishikesh?
First of all, Rishikesh actually is, of course, located in the foothills of Himalayas. And as generally people who've been traveling for Chardham, there is no way they can buy, like, they have to touch down Rishikesh. They usually stay put one night in Rishikesh and then they take their journey onwards towards going to Chardham. That is how the trend is till date. And the way how Rishikesh came into picture, the name itself, there are like a lot of stories, and there is in Kedar Khandam, in Skanda Puranam, where Kedar Khandam is one of the sections where it is very clearly mentioned how the name Rishikesh came into picture. Rishi Raibhya, he did his penance, conquered his senses under the mango tree, and seeing the penance of Raibhya Rishi, Bhagavan Shriman Narayan actually appeared in front of him and he has said, I am very happy that you have conquered your senses. You did, you're going through a lot of atrocities in terms of the weather conditions, and it was very cold that time, right? Even now, we people tend to feel the cold, so you can imagine that time.
Mhm.
So he had gone through all those weather atrocities and all, and then he conquered his senses. And then Bhagwan said, what you want? He said, Bhagwan Shriman Narayan has appeared in front of me as a Rishikesh Narayanam, so I want your name to be known for this place, not I don't want anything. So that is how rishis, they don't want anything for them. So Bhagavan was very
Mhm.
pleased at his gestures. Bhagavan said Tathastu. So that is one of the reasons why you see Rishikesh, because Rishikesh itself, the literally meaning of Rishikesh means the god who is the god of senses. The god is Bhagavan Narayana is also known as Rishikesh in Sahasranamam, Vishnu Sahasranamam. So that is where the Rishikesh, the name came. And there is another name for Rishikesh is Agni Tirtha. And Agni Tirth is because one there is one story where a forest fire broke out, and then the rishis who were doing penance were very very not able to focus, and they were like totally struggling for life. And it's like, what is going on? Forest fire broke out, where we should go? This was the place which we want to spend our whole lives with. And then they prayed Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva got angry, and then he punished Agni. And then after punishing Agni, then the whole demigods went to Bhagavan and said, Agni is one of the sources, five elements. We need him, and we pray you so that you can revoke your punishment, and try to at least bestow your blessings on him, so that he can rectify his mistakes. So Bhagavan got pleased with the prayers of the demigods, and then he said, okay, I'll revive Agni. And hence that revival of Agni also in that place, it happened in Rishikesh, so that happens to be Agni Tirtha.
Mhm.
Also, there is a name called Kubjamra Tirth. That is again attached with the Raibhya Rishi, because Raibhya Rishi, when he was doing the penance, Bhagavan Shiman Narayana came in the form of hunchback. And Kubjamra, Kubja means hunchback. So that is one of the reasons why Bhagavan appeared as a hunchback. So that name is also known as Kubjamra Tirth. So these are many, many stories which is connected with Rishikesh again.
I mean, it's so immersed, centralized, basically quoted in the Dharma, right?
Absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
the stories are just part of the way we communicate our belief system to everyday people, and these are amazing stories. They may make even every young person or older person wanting to learn more. So, so there is Rishikesh. You are in Rishikesh. You have a trust. What are you intending to do in the United States when you are here? And here we are talking. What is the message you are bringing from Rishikesh?
As we all know, like Rishikesh and Haridwar is known as the temple towns of Bharat. None of the cities was crowned as Rishikesh and Haridwar. If people who've been visiting, they know that it's strong with a lot of temples and ashrams. Around like 3,000 ashrams are there, including Haridwar and Rishikesh, and like lots and lots of temples are there. So we are privileged to be there, and the reason why I'm here is to promote the work that we are doing. Of course, there are like a lot of organizations are already doing, and we're just trying to be small in terms of what way we can support, because the organization who are already focused in a lot of activities, and our introspection of being there for a lot of, like, for the last 23 years, we felt like let's fill is the gap. It is very important to work united. It's very important. Organizations are doing their work, and we as a civil society, what our role is not to watch them to do and not to wait for their help. We should also participate, because the resources are getting depleted. There are a lot of population, a lot of activities to be done. Not every ashrams can reach out everywhere. So we felt let's put up a small effort. Let us be the helping hand in terms of supporting our system there. So that is what we're trying to do. And ours is more about promoting education. And Uttarakhand is going through a lot of crisis in terms of migration. Uttarakhand is known for a lot of protest due to lack of jobs, and education wise also there's no much of a growth. So hence we are working in terms of I'm here in America to promote how we can really, like, connect with two paradigms in terms of the Gurukul system and the government school going kids, and have them not to leave the government fold, and not to have them see going to the convent schools, because government schools are getting empty, students are not participating, and Gurukulam kids also the same kind. They're being more abandoned, or the kids are there after they graduate, they don't find much of sources of livelihood. They ending up doing pujas, not much of jobs to get in the colleges and universities. So they're moving out again out of Uttarakhand. We want to help them bring more awareness among the people. So how, as we see Corona as blessings in disguise, where a lot of people were acclimatized to adopt to the system of work from home. So that is a huge blessings in disguise, where it can really be what you say. It can be a big awakening for the people, and there's a motivation, as I see, to the people who don't want to migrate. And if we can identify those kind of bright students among the entrepreneurs who can train them and give them jobs in Rishikesh, then they don't have to move out. So that is my intent of being here.
I think that's a very powerful thing to do, because what we saw during the early days of the COVID was the migrant workers from other states. They started to go back home, right? Even though government was trying to say, don't leave, stay
Right.
put. They said, no, we want to be with our families. And a lot of them haven't come back, like from northern India to southern states for jobs. A lot of them haven't come back because they want to stay where their
Right.
families are. So
Absolutely.
providing opportunities, providing training in vocational skills, encouraging the indigenous local crafts, right? Um, and then, basically, you're finding a balance between Gurukul system of dharmic education, but also the modern sciences and technologies, so they can transition to jobs. Is that what you're
I,
trying to do?
I would say, like, coming from the mainstream of education, and I've been a part of this Gurukulam education, so I think I can relate more to both the systems of education. I understand the system well, and I understand the flaws, what it needs to be done there. So what I felt like, it's not the time to reinvent the wheel or doing something new, which is not the right approach. I feel like people, they're trying to, there are already a lot of existing structures and systems in place. We just have to collaborate, find those avenues, and connect the dots. So we see, like, in convents, why there is a transition of kids wanting to go to the convent schools is because there are a lot of promising education after they are done with the 12th, and the way, the quality of the education they feel, and the personality kind of development courses, the English based language system which is being followed in the convent school. And most of those government schools are regionalized with their, like, state based languages. In North India, predominantly it's Hindi.
Mm.
So there is lack of that confidence when the kids, after they move out of 12th, they cannot draft a letter in English. Forget about how they can really compete in giving exams, and how they are lacking in terms of counseling, what subjects to adopt. And the main struggle is the mainstream education in government school is totally Hindi based. and it's a huge paradigm shift for them to switch from Hindi to completely to English when they enter into college. Not much of an options for them. And the same thing with the Gurukulam kids. Gurukulam kids are actually like they have equivalent kind of degrees, which is matching to the bachelor's and masters, but it is again restricted to arts. Not they don't have a option for commerce or science. So we feel like, why can't we introduce those subjects where they can really enhance their skills, not restricting themselves to do pujas only, where they can also enhance being lawyers. They can end up into being into civil services. They can end up into bank jobs, and let this can be their own karma. Like, they can do it on weekends, go to their yajamans, do the pujas. So I think this can really brush up their personality in terms of how they can project their kind of seva to the society. And I think it's just to it's try to, like, I will put it in a very simple words. We just trying to enhance their skills. They are
Mm-hmm.
already, wherever the gaps is, you're trying to fill those gaps and try to cover those loopholes so that they don't leave the Gurukul system also. And there is again is also happening. A lot of Gurukul kids are also forced to move out of Gurukulam and going into mainstream schools. So we're trying to bring those mainstream subjects into Gurukulam also. So we just it's a bridge between both.
Finding a balance. It's interesting that you are doing so, starting with Gurukul, then exposing them or giving them the skill sets from the modern education system, whereas the amongst the Hindu diaspora, our children go through the modern education system, and we are trying to inculcate them with the dharma values and all that. Actually, world over, what I would agree with you is that we need both. We need a good blend of both to become a good, better human being, right? So I was looking at some of the activities or planned activities that you have, um, and that is, of course, education. Then you want to provide local employment opportunities, and maybe from the Hindu diaspora, what would you like to see? In what way would you like us to support you? Let's say not just for the education, but even building out a skill set, right?
Right. So we are actually there in place because we bring the aspect of dharma in the government school setup, because government school setups doesn't allow us to work in that fold for dharma. We have to do it separately. So we are putting up a center where after their school time, either on the weekends to start off with, like it's like a daycare, like after the school they can come. Specifically, we are focused for girls because it is Uttarakhand is a girl, like a woman oriented state. So girls are actually lacking more in education, so we want to bring them into the mainstream. And we want to, like, bring more kind of awareness in how they can participate into going to schools first, how they don't quit the schools, and then we bring the aspect of dharma. So when they, they are the beacons, as our nation is known as a Shakti. The nation is built on the Shakti, Bharat Mata. We admire Lord Goddess Durga ji, Lakshmi ji, and Saraswati ji. Our nation is known as a foundational, as we see, is a Shakti based nation. So we see like the first guru is Ma, like, woman herself. From where we get to learn. I know a lot of people have experience. Our mother is our first guru, and then we move on to schools. So we want to bring the first foundation of the education, starting with women and bringing them into the fold of dharma, bringing them more confidence so that they compete with the mainstream education, also have the knowledge of dharma. So that is one aspect. And then, we want entrepreneurs to support in terms of skill education, where the government is really struggling at this point of time, government schools, where they can train them with certificates, because without certificates you cannot really, like, authenticate your education. You cannot compete with the convent school kids in the longer run. And also, once you complete your education with certificates, you need to be getting jobs. That is also one of the main important aspects of Uttarakhand. So we want entrepreneurs to give them jobs after they train them. And same with the Gurukulam kids. There is also, like, hardly any avenues available. So we want entrepreneurs not only to support with funds, because without constant funds it is very difficult to run such systems. But apart from that, our focus of people to participate, because many people, they give away money but they don't participate. If you don't participate, if you're not responsible to see where your money is being spent, I think the transformation may not happen. So it is we are very focused in terms of having those people to participate, like socially, mentally, financially, whatever it is, but participate with whatever time you can give.
Mhm. I also noticed that you also help the indigenous tribes, right?
Yes,
In
yes.
the area, are there a lot of tribal people in the Uttarakhand?
There are very limited kind of people, but up in the mountains, and they are again struggling with livelihood, and so hence we are trying those people to not move away from Uttarakhand, and these are the people who actually, like, came as, they came with the cattle. They were like doing their, cultivation there, but the lack of global warming, in sorry, the presence of global warming, a lot of trees got cut, shot down and cut down, sorry. And then the kind of heat which actually, like, or soaked up all these reservoirs, so they hardly can do any cultivation up in the mountain. They cannot feed the cattle as well. So they coming down the mountains are getting depleted in terms of the lot of villages actually announced as ghost villages. People, they've been, going out of those mountains and coming down. So that we don't want, even the government doesn't want. These are the people who have been keeping those legacy and heritage in that area in Uttarakhand. So we want them to be there. We're trying to, help in whatever ways possible. Hence, we are trying to, as much as we can bring these things into the awareness of people. That way is only is possible. Otherwise, it's not going to be doable by one organization, as we feel.
Yeah, I find that there are lots of individual driven programs going on in India. I mean, it might be an ordinary farmer decides to commit to planting thousands of trees, right?
Yes, yes,
And then there are, of course, smart, educated young people who have learned some new technologies about mapping out what trees and shrubs and vegetation was in a particular area a while ago. And let's say now that is treeless, and they are bringing back the same mix of trees and all that. So I think uh, people are there, practices are there. The question is how to leverage all of that, right? So if Rishikesh has a program to reforest, to bring back the fauna flora of the past, because you don't want invasive species coming in, right? So much to think about, but looks like there are practices, there are success stories, particularly in India. So basically, sounds like you have to build an ecosystem, right? Ecosystem that supports all of these initiatives that you have. So for education, for environment, for the indigenous tribal protection, for women and children, stopping any abuse or trafficking, which can happen when people migrate out for lack of jobs or coming in. Legal protection, because one of the things we have found out is that a lot of times there are legal protections available, but the local people don't know about it,
right,
right?
right,
And so to let them know, be a champion for those people. So sounds to me that with the 3,000 plus ashrams and great yoga centers, etc., between Haridwar and Rishikesh, there is a group of people that we can call left behind, not plugged into the all of those things. And it is kind of sad, and I wouldn't say surprising that this is there, right? There are people who are not able to participate, somehow forgotten. And I'm really glad that your focus is really to plug them back in,
right,
right, in
right,
different ways.
right,
Because when you think about it, I mean, from the people from the West go to Rishikesh and Haridwar to learn yoga, meditation, and all of that, and come back here and become masters of all of these. Whereas our own people back in India, back in Rishikesh, let's say, are struggling, right? And we
absolutely,
don't know. So I thank you so much for coming and talking to us and letting us know. Okay, Rishikesh is not just an idea in our heads; it's a real place and it has real problems.
absolutely,
Um, but your ambitions are big, and I'm hoping the Hindu community all over the world supports you. And I'm going to ask the audience, please log on to CoHNA.org, donate, because we'd like to contribute to the efforts of Shamyapras and support them. And I want to let you know the reason we have to do that is because in the United States, CoHNA and organizations like that fight for our Hindu identity abroad and our rightful place in the global society as an equal. But doing so, we cannot forget that our roots are back in India. if the roots in places like Rishikesh and Haridwar and other one fantastic places is gone, then I don't see how we call ourselves Hindu. So I think it's extremely important we support organizations like Shamyapras. So I want to encourage people, go to the kshamyapras.org to find more information. But to donate, I would ask you also to go on to CoHNA.org and do the same. So a couple of other questions for you. I know recently I was looking you up, and recently you guys did a huge rally around the movie Kashmir Files.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about it. What was the intent and what did you accomplish?
We at the time there was huge kind of wave for supporting the Kashmiri files. The Hindus came united, and they were like all kind of things going on all across Bharat and across the world as well. So which was very exemplifying in terms of very inspiring. And we being living in Uttarakhand, we felt like there was this fire is not to be seen in that quantum as we see in other states. So we thought to participate and jump in, and we didn't wait. And then we felt like, okay, let's take us the initiative. And what we did was organized, we booked the whole show. And you would be amazed to know that the Rishikesh hall, which has the capacity of 600 seats. Even Delhi, I think, does not have any of the halls that can capacitate 600 people into one show. So we booked the whole hall. We invited all those people, specifically girls and women as well. So we actually had them to participate in the movie. So we booked the whole hall. And our theme also, we had a rally which we organized, which was themed as Hindu Resurgence. And it was organized before the movie. So we actually had everybody to participate into the rally and then to watch the movie. And you would be amazed to know when there's a video also in YouTube. So if you could get to see, you could see how people they thronged in with that kind of amusement and participating to show their unity for the city to stand strong and to show their solidarity for Kashmiri files. And it was very, very inspirational. And it was a very, very exemplifying, and it was it's a big success. And we were successfully able to pull off that. Not a single seat went empty, and people thronged into the rally, and it inspired a lot of people to stand for the city. And we're happy that we took that initiative.
And I remember you mentioned there was not a single incidence of violence.
No,
No
no,
rioting, no
no,
nothing.
not even there was no negative hooting in the hall, and even in the whole rally. And we can definitely say we were the only people in Uttarakhand, in the whole Bharat, where we did the rally and nothing of that kind happened. No violence. It went so peacefully, and everybody participated, and it was very inspirational.
Mhm.
That is enough for us to keep going. Yes.
Yeah. So sounds like you kind of brought the community together around that one movie. Now people are energized. At least they know a little bit more about the history of Hindus in Bharat, and hopefully they come on board with your initiatives, right?
And we just want to give it a message, like usually movies are for entertainment. So we said, like, it's not, if you only book the hall, it would only remain a medium of entertainment. We said, like, it's not an entertainment, it's something to learn from. And it should really like stay with you for long, and we should learn something out of the movie. It's just an incident which happened, which should not repeat in itself. And it only happened because of lack of awareness and participation. And we wanted to give that message out to people. And then we are thankful that people, they took us that seriously, and they participated into the rally. So thanks
Mhm.
to the people of Rishikesh.
I think that was very good. That video was actually pretty good. Now, I just want to also talk a little bit about you have a lot of, I would say, I would say challenges, right? I mean, to bring on board a whole population of people who have not been fully invested in, let's say, the activities going on in Rishikesh. It's not a simple thing. And so, I mean, finding any rally point to kind of bring them together is an amazing thing. So, in the couple of years that you have been established, what do you call us? What do you call out a few success? Uh, you know,
I
with
would
this.
I would say we were quickly, because we had the sense of the local demographics, and we know what actually are the issues, key issues that needs to be addressed. and we also understood for the fact that why we came into picture, and what we need, what it needs to be done. So the basic thing is to have that consensus among people. And it is very important, like, it is just not to blame Hindus in terms, we should want to give them an opportunity to participate, because they are looking for livelihood, and they are looking for an opportunity to stand on their own feet. So it is very important for us to really give them an opportunity, as you had pointed out, like, besides there are like 3,000 ashrams, more than 85% of the local people are cut off from those organizations, so that is it's a huge triggering factor why there is a cutoff. And so we felt like, okay, because we felt like, young volunteers are not the local volunteers. There are a lot of volunteers who come from abroad and participate in those organizations, but the local population generally, which is actually we see as a decline in numbers. So we wanted to see, like, if how we can connect them back into that realm, and where they can participate more, and how we can bring them into their awareness. So we could identify those loopholes, and we're trying to rectify. And the big success was we were able to connect with the government. We were able to connect with those, because my sister herself is an educationist, and then she's into this education field for the last 12 years, and she almost have 500 to 1,000 students attached with her till date. So that is a huge factor which we could really amplify through this non-profit, and connecting them and creating inspiration for their youngsters. So those kids were able to connect them back with the youngsters, and that is actually creating a chain of such youngsters to come back into like aligning with what we are doing. And we have certain modules of, like, how we can keep them intact. So education is one, giving them certified training courses, and through, like, reputed modules, through a lot of collaborations, and connecting with them with the entrepreneurs who can, streamline those kind of potential people and give them jobs, so that they have never seen, in Uttarakhand at least. And that was one of the key factors which we see as a success in connecting those dots, and reinstating that kind of faith. We are in the initial stages, but it is I would call a success, of course. In We are able to do it in very quick time. Besides, there were like 2 years of pandemic.
Yeah, yeah. Are you seeing young educated Hindus from, let's say, the IITs or the engineering universities, etc., wanting to help? Do you see them connecting back to you, or wanting to come and volunteer?
We are not in that stage right now because of the 2 years of pandemic. Things were in the standstill. Now we are picking up momentum, and now after the rally which we did, it really created a spark among the whole state. When people, they are like jumping in terms of like how we can contribute, how we can participate. Those things. It's more of a physical kind of involvement people they're asking for, which is what more we want. On top of like donations, of course, is there, but we keep it as secondary, because until unless people don't participate and they don't commit for long term, we will not be able to see a long term success. So that is happening after the rally. Yes.
Mhm. I think that is going to be very key. You need the not only the diaspora, the way the diaspora can work is, if any Hindu or any Indian is going to India and happen to be in Rishikesh, stop by, meet Karthik there, see what the work is going on. I find that encourages the local volunteers to see people from abroad coming and showing interest. I mean, that's a simple thing to do, right? And also you also need the smartest of kids from India participating, building the right with you, building the kind of tools and skills.
Right.
And I know there is a question here. So I mean, that is the point. I want to see the young people from India starting to join this effort to plug back 85% of the local population back into the economy, the working economy of Rishikesh.
Right.
But at the same time, the diaspora taking that extra step to go visit, meet with organizations such as Shamyapras.
Yeah, they need inspiration. They need
Yes.
inspiration. They need backup, which we are trying to give. And our we are just a platform in terms of connecting them with the right people, right entrepreneurs, right platform. We are just a connecting dot. And as you rightly pointed out, like the kids, we are trying to bring them in, trying to, like, make them more interactive with the kids so that they can be more inspired. They lack in inspiration. And with the entrepreneurs, with the promising jobs and training modules, I'm very sure that will bring them back, and with the kind of a hope that they don't have to move away from their families, and they can stay with
Yeah.
their families and be there.
So there's a question here. What can be done to give priority to indigenous residents of Rishikesh so they can benefit from the development and the city's popularity? Of course, it's a great, I mean, it's a very popular place. So how do we make that?
We are trying to, in terms of stopping the migration. We are trying to not to help the desirous Hindus, but to help the deserving ones, because until and unless you don't have that passion to stand on your own feet, you will not have that integrity to fight for your own self in long term. Because if you are really striving to take something for granted, they will then you will always fall back, and then you will always be looking for help, which is not a long term solution.
Mhm,
So where we come into picture is actually not to give Hindus were they're only looking for help, but also to fill in with the sense of standing on their own, trying to earn the livelihood. They can be dependent, they can be independent, not to be relying on the society more, but they can be an example to the society. So
mhm,
hence that is where we are trying to bring that kind of awareness among people, that we'll bring you an avenue, but you have to prove your worth. And I think people are coming up to that, in terms of how they can stand on their own, given that as an opportunity given to them, at the earliest. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, one other thing I have noticed is in Bharat, indigenous people have a wealth of knowledge of herbs and medicines and things of that nature. I know some many times they are taken advantage of. I am just wondering, as part of your initiative of reforestation, helping them go back to their way of life, how do you encourage them or maybe enable them to keep knowledge of the flora fauna, right, for very beneficial needs, and have a way for them to gain from that knowledge, right, without being exploited.
Right. Uttarakhand actually is known for Ayurvedic herbs. It's known for, it's artisan work, and the kind of wood that Uttarakhand produces. So there are like very few specific things which is Uttarakhand is known for, like hand weaving, like sweaters, like hand woven sweaters. So we are trying to identify those people and trying to connect them with the entrepreneurs, and then where they can get livelihood straight off,
Mhm,
because they're not tech savvy, they don't know how to go about it, they get ticked off, as you rightly said. We again want to be that connecting dot in identifying those right people and connecting with the entrepreneurs, and where they can be benefited the most.
mhm. And the two cities, Haridwar and Rishikesh, being the national heritage cities,
Hmm.
I'm just wondering, how do you even build a collaboration with the national government, because that's the one that provided this designation. If there is a way to build a collaboration where the government provides certifications or just stamps certain local knowledge skills, as uniquely Rishikesh, right? I mean, that becomes a branding kind of a thing, and that enables you to sell that product at a higher value, because even though there are fake products, only your product is. So I'm just trying to say, how do you use benefits that are already there, right? Like we talked about legal benefits, that are rights that are available to indigenous and local people, the marketing that might be available with this heritage city designation. I know it's a lot of effort, but building that network of connection to for the benefit of the people, something that I don't know if you have thought about.
No, we already thought about it. Like, we don't want to be going beating around the bushes, going everywhere to change the mindset of people. It's not possible. We
Yes.
want to start from self, start with your family, then your neighbors, then your community, and then to the district. That's why we actually have kept our focus to Rishikesh only. And
Mhm,
it is itself, if you may be aware of the Rishikesh population, which is 7 lakh almost, is a huge population to cater. So we have no time to cater the other kind of communities, because it is a huge population itself. If we can cater that properly with focus, of course we are also having a legal system which gives sessions and workshops to the local schools and communities, as and when possible, to give them about what government of India projects are, how you can be benefited for a farmer, and what are the rights that you need to be knowing about. So these are things which they are generally not aware of. They don't know how to find those things online. So that's why we're bringing again those kind of knowledge among them at no cost. This is again for free. And like, they have some sort of queries about how to go about the legal disputes. They have a lot of things going on. So that is one important aspect to really like cover. So our legal system is ready. So that is focused on that. In terms of identifying, there is one sense of question that is among the buyer is whether the product that I'm buying is really like genuine, if
Mm.
the person selling is genuine. It's a very very common question among the buyers.
Mhm.
So what we tried is we are trying to create a network of people in Rishikesh, and slowly we'll expand them, where the tourists, because Rishikesh is national heritage site. Besides Haridwar, and Rishikesh is the only place which was announced by Minister of Culture in 2015. So that is a huge responsibility. So it comes with a lot of aids and supports to the government. But if people are not able to tap into those avenues,
Mm.
then we cannot blame the government. It is not right.
Yeah.
So it is also important for us to bring that awareness among the people, to bringing to the mainstream of what are the initiatives that is brought in by the government, and identify those right sellers who are not selfish, who have the right intent to sell the right product to the customers. So that is where we are starting off. So as a tourist, when they come into Rishikesh, there will be a way, not now, we're working on that. They will be able to identify those potential shopkeepers, or where they want to stay put for long, where and what they can buy. So who are the genuine kind of buyers they can go up to. So that way the sense of belief and what you say, the reliability goes more stronger, and the integrity among the sellers also goes stronger. That is how it should be,
Yeah.
which has
No,
rectified.
I think it's very important. The tourist centers in the big tourist centers in Bharat. I found that when we go to a carpet weaving community or a potter community, they get so many tourists, and the young people there, they learn how to speak English even without formal education in a school, but they also have learned how to use technology. Meaning,
Right.
10 years ago, if I went to a small weavers community in Rajasthan. It's hosted by a young man who works in his family facility and has already acquired a credit card, a credit card machine. So you can use your credit card. He will package this rightly for you and export it. So I think basically what you're saying is that there are the piece parts available by being designated as a heritage city, that government certain benefits might be available. Then there are other entrepreneurial networks that you need to build. And at some point, the indigenous population will find the interest and the engagement required to emulate that model, let's say in Rajasthan, right? I thought that was amazing. A local village boy had learned on his own and was actually using it to sell his homespun carpets,
Right.
right?
Right.
I mean, and so he doesn't go anywhere. He lives there, right there, and he works and he earns a very good income. And those products, if it is branded correctly, then it has very high value. So I think you have all of the elements to make Rishikesh into a economic hub, I would say, that everybody can participate in.
Absolutely.
Because today, maybe the 3,000 ashrams host lots of people from around the world who are paying money to learn yoga and whatever. But if a large chunk of the people don't participate in it, that I'm not saying we should stop doing it. We should continue doing it. But you also need people like you who are building ways to help the others by not emulating the West or anybody else. I think, but focusing on, first of all, you said dharma, and then how can old indigenous cultures or cultural practices become value or something of pride, right? And something that the world values, then, like yoga, meditation. There has to be something uniquely Rishikesh. I buy a sweater from Rishikesh, I buy something from Rishikesh. It is uniquely valued, right? So I think that is, yeah. So here's another question. This a young person wanted to visit and learn more about Rishikesh and other Hindu holy places. What avenues are there for shaping my spiritual development there? Yeah. So do you focus on that, Karthik?
Yeah, absolutely. The very foundation is just to enhance yourself first. If you're not having that kind of rooted knowledge of your own heritage, who you are, what you are, and what your roots are, then you're not able to confidently speak about what you want to talk about. You're just talking on theories. And in when the Sanatana Dharma is not only theory based, it's more about practical application. So like Rishikesh, why it's known a temple town? Because every within 1 kilometer, what it used to be, as mentioned in Kedar and in Skanda Puran, like every 1 kilometer you will have some sort of a very auspicious tirtham. Even in Rishikesh, it used to be. It's depicted and specified in that Purana. So there are a lot of things which you can because it's total full of vibration, the kind of environment and ambience, but it is just not to come and stay put and you will find that kind of result instantaneously. It's not a fast food or something, right? It takes a lot of patience. It really need a lot of fine enhancement of your mindset. You need to know what you're here for, and you should have the patience to and also a clear what you say conviction to achieve it. Until you don't have the patience and conviction, then you will not be able to achieve the result. So there are places which where you can stay put and you can be more grounded, and the nature connect is so quite normally it happens in Rishikesh. You don't have to look for a calm environment or something. You just come there, you stay put. Within few seconds of you being there by the banks of Ganga, you are like connected to your own self. What more you want? It happens just naturally. So it takes time, of course. And once people start to come and stay put for some time, they will try to feel the difference of being other places and what Rishikesh can bring in.
Mhm. That I think that is a good question. A young person asking that. I'm hoping more and more young people want to visit Rishikesh and find out for themselves what it means to the Hindu Dharma and to being a Hindu. I think that is the key point. So when you talked about temples, talk to me a little bit about. You said it's a temple town. Every kilometer there is a temple. Is that still true, or is the focus on the big temples?
No, 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 absolutely. We again we come into picture because Uttarakhand, after it became the yoga capital, a lot of tourists actually throng, and then specifically Westerners, they come to seek yoga sessions. They want to be participating into a lot of yoga courses, and as Tirthayatris coming from all over the world to do the Char Dham. As I've said, they have to stay put in Rishikesh for one night or so. And what happens is with the kind of tourist population coming in, thronging in, at times they are like short of time or something. But when when they want to really see what Rishikesh is all about, it's just not a man-made temples and ashram. They want to see what actual Rishikesh is, what ancient times it used to talk about. So there are places like in Rishikesh, like Adi Shankara came to Rishikesh. Mayakund is a place which is still known as Mayakund, and he found the statue of Shriman Narayana, which is reinstated by him, which is known as Bharat Mandir, who is known as the king of Rishikesh. His name is Rishikesh Narayana. That is one of the stories again. So Bharat temple is very well known. So that is one of the ancient temples. And there is one place where Lakshmanji did his penance, which is nearby Lakshman Jula, where Lakshmanji's temple is there. So that is an old temple, which is not majoritarily people, even the local people, they're not aware of, because as I've been telling people, they move out, new people come in, so they don't know the history, right? So we've been trying to actually bring in into the awareness of people, like these are the places you should visit. There is another place where Dhruva, after his giving away of his kingdom, he came to that place in Lakshman Jula again, and where he was doing penance. And because Gangaji was flowing, and Gangaji is known for making noise, because of the rapids. So Dhruvji was, not able to focus, and in his tapasya, so he actually rose up, and then he said, I'll move up in the mountain where I can be more, peaceful. So Gangaji appeared and said, Dhruvji, what you're doing, you can sit here and do, your sadhana, and you can do your meditation. But Dhruvji said, no, Mataji, because of your flow, I'm not able to concentrate. Hence, I'm thinking of moving upwards. So Gangaji said, if sadhus like you move away from Gangaji, then why am I flowing here for? So she said, I assure you, you sit here and do your sadhana. I'll not make a noise. So you'll find is an existing kind of true majestic power of Bhagavan, like how Gangaji makes twist, like a sharp turn without making any noise. people will be amazed. That's a very very clear kind of a message that people want to see. What if they want to see what the power of Bhagavan? A sharp turn of Gangaji in Lakshman Jula, but no noise is being made. But when you go down towards Ram Jula, which is again a few meters from there, you will see there is no rapid or much, but there's huge sound again. So what it is, you cannot explain it. And
You know, one of the things about temples I have started to realize is that every temple has story, like you just shared. But when we go to the temple, there's nobody to tell us a story,
right,
right? Or we may have a guide who may not know the real story and they make up something because they think, oh,
absolutely,
here's a tourist, I can
absolutely.
tell them whatever. I'm just trying to see, hey, that could become a skill and what is it, a job in itself, learning about the history of the place, learning about the history of the temples and its significance, right? And the story you told about Dhruv and Ganga Ma. I think that's very powerful. I'm just saying storytelling becomes very powerful part of the whole idea of Rishikesh.
That is one of the initiatives we're working on
Yeah.
in enhancing those, because child labor is one of the big issues in Rishikesh. These kids actually sell items. These are the kids who become like tourist guides without having any knowledge or having the skill to explain things, because there are a lot of other types of people, Gujaratis, even in India, the different language speaking people, they don't understand. So they even don't find the kind of translators all the time. So we are actually working on that front where we can train them with those kind of skills, with the language skills. English is a lot of the South Indians, they understand very easily. And the actual story which needs to be told, not fake stories, because we are working on preserving the integrity of Rishikesh, which is to be put in the right way. So, so we are working on creating a system where we can provide them a certificate, working with the state government, and soon we will have a platform where government will endorse that, give them like a kind of a tag where they'll official Uttarakhand authorized travel guides, where they will be like taking them and explaining them the right kind of knowledge, which is already there mentioned in the Shastras. They just have to be taught about it. So it has
Yeah.
to fit into a module. So like that is what we are trying to do. So soon you will see the difference where people will get to see exact what they want to see. They will be told about that in that way.
I think it's very important. So there's a question, couple of questions actually, but this last question is: love hearing these stories. How do we keep them alive and get them broadly disseminated? So I'm going to suggest maybe on your website. I mean, don't put all the stories at one time. Just put a story for engagement, and then a little bit about the temple, and keep that going. So we can engage with you on your website, understand the stories, and maybe the same people will learn about these stories, the guides, rather than just making up something about a particular temple, right? um, so that's hopefully some, or maybe your own team will have come up with very creative ideas of how to share the stories of temples of Rishikesh. The other question is, suggest how citizens and visitors can help support the effort. First, what I'm going to suggest is go to CoHNA.org. Let's collect some funds for Shamyapras, because it's very important. Just listening to Karthik, so much needs to be done so the true identity of Rishikesh can be protected. And I think it's a real dharmic duty to help organizations like this. And when we go to Bharat, visit Rishikesh, connect with the organizations there, visit some of the ashrams and the temples, and learn more about it. We need to have an ongoing connection, I would say, with Rishikesh. Any other thoughts on that? How citizens and visitors can help your effort, Karthik?
Yes, absolutely. Like we have few jog down initiatives which we've been focusing on. As people, when they check on our website, they can find out those specifics, like how we are actually like bringing those government school kids from convent fold, trying to bring that value system into the Gurukul with the dharmic background, even with the Gurukulam, where there are a lot of Gurukulam where they're struggling for a proper education, no proper clothing, not a proper food provided. Many Gurukuls are struggling in that fold. So we want people to support them. We need a long-term sustenance on that fold. On top of it, like, during the pandemic, we felt like a lot of Hindu community, when they lost their parents or mothers, they didn't have the funds to do the cremation. So it was a very, very striking kind of reality where we felt like, there is nobody they can look up to. No government aid was there. It was, of course, it's very common. So no Hindu community support. So we jumped in on the situation, and we created a system. It was a very remarkable kind of outcome. We could not do much because we were only limited, because they also knew people didn't know, they didn't knew us. So we had a system for 13-day rituals. They don't have to go anywhere. We had a helpline number which we had put out into the city, where people, they thronged in. A lot of people actually put into requests. Most of them were genuine, some of them are also fakes. But it was a daunting task. Despite of the pandemic in place, we had to identify who's genuine, who's in the need. We could only do much with a lot of funds we had. We had taken care of the cremation, and we had arranged a priest. We took care of the priest dakshina, and we had arranged for the 13-day rituals. And it was predominantly the SC/ST community, and the kind of respect which was lacking, as we say, among the priests. It was very, very mind-boggling, the way how they, things turned out. And the kind of things which we felt is a remarkable kind of experience for them to remember the kind of support they got it through the priest, as Brahmins coming in and doing all those 13-day rituals without any expectation, and devoting their time and energy and support, the emotional backing, so that it still like stays with them for until they die. So that was a remarkable kind of experience. So we would say that is one of the initiatives we have covered to a small segment of time, but that was one of a very welcoming move from the people there. And we also do a lot of tirtha yatras for the local rishis, sorry, the sadhus who live in a very small hut. They don't have no money. They only into teaching the kids, and they want to do yatras. So what we do is we book them a third AC ticket, so that they don't have to suffer heat or the cold during the winter or summer. And we give them a small, dakshina, where they don't have to really look for money when they're traveling. And wherever they want to go, we actually tied up working on the front with railway ministry there, who can provide us some aid for those Mahatmas, or even for the Hindu community where they want to go for some emergency back home. There is no provision. When somebody passes away, the tickets are sold out. So we're working on that front also with the government, how we can really reserve those seats when Hindus wanting to go in emergency, they can get a confirmed seat and they can go without any hassle at any point of time. So those are the segments we are focusing.
I think that's very good. Well, a couple of questions about how many gurukuls are there?
Predominantly, there are like 7 to 8 gurukuls there, and we have picked up 2 to 3 gurukuls, which is actually predominantly like struggling for help with the basic amenities. They don't have proper milk, and these kids are from the age of 8 until the age of 16. They don't have proper clothing, winter clothing, summer clothing. They don't have proper food. So we want to, actually have that whole system taken care of, where the kids actually can at least level up with the basic needs and focus on what they have come here for, to take the flag of Sanatana Dharma ahead. So that was one of the initiatives which we want, that is attached to the Gurukulam in Rishikesh.
We're almost at the hour, and one question is that when we do an online search, top links are usually TripAdvisor, etc. So is what you are doing, Shamyapras, linked to like TripAdvisor, where people can find out what to do, things to do in Rishikesh, things to do that Shamyapras offers, etc.
We are trying to build that system very soon. That you will see that people will be able to identify when they enter, or even they plan to come to Rishikesh through our website. I think it's a very convenient way we feel in terms of explaining what they can do when they come to Rishikesh, where they can stay put, which is very genuine in terms of like where they can stay put, what they can do, how they can go about that, where they can eat. Those kind of verified information we'll put there, so people will not have to worry about, because people have a lot of apprehensions and questions whether to come or not, who to trust and who to not to trust. So those things are we working on it to give a verified with factual analysis for the people who want to do the Tirth Yatra. Should not have such kind of questions in their mind. Their focus should only to do the darshanam of Bhagavan and come with the total devotion without any questions in their mind. And before we conclude there, I just want to add on one more big thing in Rishikesh. As we felt, despite of having many ashrams there, still Rishikesh is among those holy cities, but we don't call as a holy city. Why? Because we still see stray cows, desi cows wandering on the streets. The bulls are wandering on the streets, go through the atrocities of winter, summer. They get beaten up by people, eat polythene bags. It is not a common thing, but is going on everywhere. But it's an unfortunate fact which needs to be rectified. When people as yatris they come in, they say like, what is happening? It is a tirtha kshetram, and we see cows are wandering on the streets and they're empty, empty stomach, and they're struggling with food, going through all those tortures of the nature. So we want to keep Rishikesh free from stray cows. We want to preserve them at all cost, even the calves. Because what about the calves? Because cows being milked, and after they stop giving milk, they put them on the street. So we're working with the government again not to have the people to let them on the street. What about the calf? So calf have no hope. The kind of cultivation which used to happen on calves, it's not happening anymore. It's more on tractors, technology based. So we want to preserve those calves and cows, put them on a place till they die. They live, happily. That is the least we can offer in this land of Bharat.
A shelter, goshala,
Yes,
for
absolutely.
and keep the streets clean. Keep the streets clean. Yeah,
Absolutely,
I think
absolutely.
that's very important. So, in conclusion, what would you like to say to the Hindu diaspora? In terms of your efforts, I know you talked about a lot, but if you were to, have a few direct statements to the Hindu
Uh,
diaspora.
I would say, like being a Sanatani is to follow the Sanatana Dharma in whatever aspect without making any excuses, like the way we see other communities are following with full conviction. And it should start from yourself and with your family. And our tagline, as you see, Sudharme Nidhanam Shreya Paradharmo Bhayava, that itself means you can be a Brahmana, you can be a Kshatriya, you can be a Malayali, you can be a Kannadiga, you can be a Tamilian, you can be a Telugu. But once you step out of your house, you should only be a Sanatani. That is the only thing which you should keep in your mind. That is the only way to bring ourselves closer to our own community together, and that is the way how we can go along. And Rishikesh is the way why we feel is again a motivation factor is when Gangaji, anybody comes to Gangaji doing any Tirtha Yatra, they don't come as a Kannadiga, Tamil, Malayali, or Gujarati. They come as Sanatanis. They don't come as Brahmana, Kshatriyas. They come as Sanatani. So that is a huge, remarkable thing. It should not be only kept for doing the Tirtha Yatras or going to temples. It should really be applicable in our daily lives. The kind of mutual respect, the kind of mutual confidence. We are losing our kind of faith among our own people, which should
Mhm.
not happen. And the kind of joint system thing which we used to happen, keeping everybody intact and working with them, that is all going, so that should really start to happen from our own self. The sense of awareness should come in, and a sense of faith and belief among our people should start to happen. And we should believe in sangat chadvam samvatadvam sambho manam si janatam, like working with ourselves, our together, like hand and legs to be a part of the body that only functions properly. Being handicapped is just a burden to the society, same as the Hindu community. Our
Mhm.
hands and legs are our Brahmana, Kshatriya, Shudras. Everybody is together, makes the whole body stronger. So we all should come together. That is what Vaishnava Vasudeva Kutumbakam is all about. So our dharma should start from our own self. Being proud of what we are doing. Touching the parents' feet is not going to harm yourself. Lighting a lamp at your house is not going to harm yourself. It is very basic thing. It may sound very basic to you, but it got a huge resemblance in transforming lives. Giving the arga to Lord Surya, giving arga to Tulsi, lighting lamps at your house without failing. It should happen regularly, not giving excuse. If once it becomes a habit, you will not be able to let go of it. And the kind of result that you see by doing such karmas is predominantly exemplifying. I have seen in my life, and I can say that. That is my
Mhm.
message to the people.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think you gave us a very good sense of being a Sanatani, being a Sanatani in Rishikesh, and why the Hindu diaspora needs to value what we have back in Bharat, right? And to work hard to protect it as we work hard to for ourselves in wherever land we are. And what you said in the last statement, that everyone who comes to our holy places is the same. We don't other them, we don't separate them, we don't see them as different. They're all there as Sanatani, despite of the divisions, the separations, or whatever different ideas you have. At the end of the day, when somebody shows up in Rishikesh or Shabarimala or Kamakhya or Chidambaram, uh, they are there as Sanatani. So I encourage everybody to please donate. CoHNA.org, where we also showed the Shamyapras.org. Donate there. Let us keep in touch with this organization and understand and see what they do. Really cheer them when they have great successes. Help them if they need a helping hand. Go visit and show your support to them. I think we can do many things in places like Rishikesh, Haridwar, many holy centers of India. Let's not forget our roots. So with that, thank you and namaskar to everybody. Have a wonderful Mother's Day. Thank you. And thank
Amma.
you,
Thank you
Karthik.
for the opportunity, Amma. Really grateful. Hari Om.
Thank you. Let's see.